First Chronicles chapter 11. David becomes king of all Israel. Then all Israel gathered before David at Hebron and told him, "We are your own flesh and blood. In the past, even when Saul was king, you were the only one who really led the forces of Israel. And the Lord your God told you, you will be the shepherd of my people Israel. You will be the leader of my people Israel." So there at Hebron, David made a covenant before the Lord with all the elders of Israel. And they anointed him king of Israel, just as the Lord had promised through Samuel. David captures Jerusalem. Then David and all Israel went to Jerusalem, or Jebus, as it was used to be called, where the Jebusites, the original inhabitants of the land, were living. The people of Jebus taunted David, saying, "You'll never get in here." But David captured the fortress of Zion, which is now called the City of David. David had said to his troops, "Whoever is first to attack the Jebusites will become the commander of my armies." And Joab, the son of David's sister, Zeruiah, was first to attack. So he became the commander of David's armies. David made the fortress his home. That is why it's called the City of David. He extended the city from the supporting terraces to the surrounding area, while Joab rebuilt the rest of Jerusalem. And David became more powerful because the Lord of the heavens' armies was with him. David's mightiest warriors. These are the leaders of David's mighty warriors. Together with all Israel, they decided to make David their king, just as the Lord had promised concerning Israel. Here is a record of David's mightiest warriors. The first was Jashobeam, the Hakmonite, who was the leader of the three, the mightiest warriors among David's men. He once used a spear to kill 300 enemy warriors in a single battle. Next in rank among the three was Eleazar, son of Dodai, a descendant of Ahoah. He was with David when the Philistines gathered for battle at Pasdammim and attacked the Israelites in the field full of barley. The Israelite army fled, but Eleazar and David held their ground in the middle of the field and beat back the Philistines. So the Lord saved them by giving them a great victory. Once David was at the rock near the cave of Adullam. The Philistine army was camped in the valley of Rephaim. The three, who were among the 30, an elite group among David's fighting men, went down to meet him there. David was staying in the stronghold at the time, and a Philistine detachment had occupied the town of Bethlehem. David remarked longingly to his men, "Oh, how I would love some of the good water from the well by the gate in Bethlehem." So the three broke through the Philistine lines, drew some water from the well by the gate in Bethlehem, and brought it back to David. But David refused to drink it. Instead, he poured it out as an offering to the Lord. "God forbid that I should drink this," he exclaimed. "This water is as precious as the blood of these men, who risked their lives to bring it to me." So David did not drink it. These are examples of the exploits of the three. Abishai, the brother of Joab, was the leader of the 30. He once used his spear to kill 300 enemy warriors in a single battle. It was by such feats that he became as famous as the three. Abishai was the most famous of the 30 and was their commander, though he was not one of the three. There was also Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, a valiant warrior from Kabzeel. He did many heroic deeds, which included killing 2 champions of Moab. Another time, on a snowy day, he chased a lion down into a pit and killed it. Once, armed with only a club, he killed an Egyptian warrior who was 7.5 feet tall and who was armed with a spear as thick as a weaver's beam. Benaiah wrenched the spear from the Egyptian's hand and killed him with it. Deeds like these made Benaiah a famous as the three mightiest warriors. He was more honored than the other members of the 30, though he was not one of the three. And David made him captain of his bodyguard. David's mighty warriors also included Asael, Joab's brother, Elhanan, son of Dodo from Bethlehem, Shammah of Harod, Helez from Pelon, Ira, son of Ikesh from Tekoa, Abiezer from Anathoth, Sibakal from Hushah, Zalman from Ahoah, Mahurai from Netophah, Helid, son of Baanah from Netophah, Ithai, son of Reba from Gibeath in the land of Benjamin, Benai from Pirathon, Hurai from near Nahal Gash, Abialban from Araba, Asmaath from Bahurim, Eliabah from Shalbon, the sons of Jashan from Gizon, Jonathan, the son of Shagi from Harar, Aham, son of Sharar from Harar, Eliphal, son of Hefer from Mechara, Anijah from Pelon, Hezro from Carmel, Parai, son of Ezbai, Joel, the brother of Nathan, Mibhar, son of Hagri, Zilach from Ammon, Naharai from Beeroth, the armor-bearer of Joab, the son of Zerai, Ira from Jatir, Gareb from Jatir, Uriah the Hittite, Zabad, the son of Ahalai, Adina, son of Shiza, the Reubenite leader, who had 30 men with him, Hanan, son of Makkah, Shashaphat from Mithna, Uzziah from Ashtaroth, Shema and Jael, the sons of Hotham from Auror, Jediel, son of Shimri, Joha, his brother from Tiz, Eliel from Mahava, Jerubai and Joshabai, the sons of Elnam, Ithma from Moab, Eliel from Obed, Jaziel from Zobah.
1 Chronicles 12. Warriors joined David's army. The following men joined David at Ziklag while he was hiding from Saul, son of Kish. They were among the warriors who fought beside David in battle. All of them were expert archers, and they could shoot arrows or sling stones with their left hand as well as their right. They were all relatives of Saul, from the tribe of Benjamin. Their leader was Azir, son of Shema from Gibeah. His brother, Joash, was second in command. These were their warriors: Jezel and Pelat, son of Azmavet, Berhak, Jehu from Anthoth, Ishma from Gibeon, the famous warrior and leader among 30, Jeremiah, Jaziel, Johanan, and Jozabad from Gederah, El-Uziah, Jeremoth, Beliah, Shemariah, and Shephatiah from Haraph, El-Kanha, Ishal, Azer, Joazer, and Jashabim who were Korites, Joel and Zebediah, sons of Joram from Gerd. Some brave and experienced warriors from the tribe of Gad also defected to David while he was at the stronghold in the wilderness. They were expert and both shield and spear, as fierce as lions and swift as deer on the mountains. Azir was their leader, Obadiah was second, Elab was third, Mishama was fourth, Jeremiah was fifth, Attai was sixth, Eliel was seventh, Johanan was eighth, Elzabad was ninth, Jeremiah was 10th, and Mechbani was 11th. These warriors from God were army commanders. The weakest among them could take on 100 regular troops, and the strongest could take on 1,000. These were the men who crossed the Jordan River during its seasonal flooding at the beginning of the year and drove out all of the people living in the lowlands on both the east and west bank. Others from Benjamin and Judah came to David at the stronghold. David went out to meet them and said, "If you have come in peace to help me, we are friends. But if you have come to betray me to my enemies when I am innocent, then may the God of our ancestors see it and punish you." Then the Spirit came upon Amaziah, the leader of the 30, and he said, "We are yours, David. We are on your side, son of Jesse. Peace and prosperity be with you, and the success to all who help you. For your God is the one who helps you." So David let them join him, and he made them officers in his troops. Some men from Manasseh defected from the Israelite army to join David when he set out to the Philistines to fight against Saul. But as it turned out, the Philistine ruler refused to let David and his men go with them. After much discussion, they set them back, for they said, "It will cost us our heads if David switches loyalties to Saul and turns against us." Here is a list of the men from Manasseh who defected to David as he was returning to Ziklag: Adnan, Jozabad, Jedidiah, Michael, Jozabad, Elihu, Zilithai. Each commanded 1,000 troops from the tribe of Manasseh. They helped David chase down bands of raiders, for they were all brave and able warriors who became commanders in his army. Day after day, more men joined David until he had a great army, like the army of God. These are the numbers of armed warriors who joined David at Hebron. They were all eager to see David come to king instead of Saul, just as the Lord had promised. From the tribe of Judah, there were 6,800 warriors armed with shields and spears. From the tribe of Simeon, there were 7,100 brave warriors. From the tribe of Levi, there were 4,600 warriors. This included Jehoiada, leader of the family of Aaron, who had 3,700 under his command. He also included Zadok, a brave young warrior with 22 members of his family who were all officers. From the tribe of Benjamin, Saul's relatives, there were 3,000 warriors. Most of the men from Benjamin had remained loyal to Saul until this time. From the tribe of Ephraim, there were 20,800 brave warriors, each highly respected in his own clan. From the half-tribe of Manasseh, west of the Jordan, 18,000 men were designated by name to help David become king. From the tribe of Issachar, there were 2,000 leaders of the tribe with their relatives. All of these men understood the signs of the time and knew the best course for Israel to take. From the tribe of Zebulun, there were 50,000 skilled warriors. They were fully armed and prepared for battle, completely loyal to David. From the tribe of Naphtali, there were 1,000 officers and 37,000 warriors armed with shields and spears. From the tribe of Dan, there were 28,600 warriors, all prepared for battle. From the tribe of Asher, there were 40,000 trained warriors, all prepared for battle. From the east side of the Jordan River, there were tribes of Reuben and Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh lived there, with 120,000 troops armed with every kind of weapon. All of these men came in battle array to Hebron with a single purpose of making David the king over all of Israel. In fact, everyone in Israel agreed that David should be their king. They feasted and drank with David for 3 days. for preparations had been made by their relatives for their arrival. And people from as far as Issachar, Zebulun, and Naphtali brought food on donkeys and camels and mules and oxen. Vast supplies of flour, fig cakes, clusters of raisins, wine, olive oil, cattle, sheep, and goats were brought to the celebration. There was a great joy throughout the land of Israel.
1 Chronicles chapter 13. David consulted with all the officials, including the generals and captains of his army. Then he addressed the entire assembly of Israel as follows: If you approve, and if it is the will of the Lord our God, let us send messages to all the Israelites throughout the land, including the priests and Levites in their towns and pasture lands. Let us invite them to come and join us. It is time to bring back the ark of our God, for we neglected it during the reign of Saul. The whole assembly agreed to do this, for the people could see it was the right thing to do. So David summoned all Israel, from the Shihor brook of Egypt in the south all the way to the town of Lebo-hamath in the north, to join in bringing the ark of God from Kiriath-jearim. Then David and all Israel went to Bala of Judah, also called Kiriath-jearim, to bring back the ark of God, which bears the name of the Lord, who is enthroned between the cherubim. They placed the ark of God on a new cart and brought it from Abinadab's house. Uzzah and Ahio were guiding the cart. David and all Israel were celebrating before God with all their might, singing songs and playing all kinds of musical instruments, lyres, harps, tambourines, cymbals, and trumpets. But when they arrived at the threshing floor of Nacon, the oxen stumbled, and Uzzah reached out his hand to steady the ark. Then the Lord's anger was aroused against Uzzah, and he struck him dead because he had laid his hand on the ark. So Uzzah died there in the presence of God. David was angry because the Lord's anger had burst out against Uzzah. He named that place Perez Uzzah, which means to burst out against Uzzah, as it is still called today. David was now afraid of God, and he asked, "How can I ever bring the ark of God back into my care?" So David did not move the ark into the city of David. Instead, he took it to the house of Obed-Edom of Gath. The ark of God remained there in Obed-Edom's house for 3 months, and the Lord blessed the household of Obed-Edom and everything he owned.